right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for giving me the opportunity to, pretty much give you my real life story, how I use smart construction. Well, I continue to, because we are still in the midst of completing the Komatsu South Harbor project here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So on the screen, basically, I just want to just briefly give you a high-level scope of what the project is. The project consists of pretty much, we call it 2 sites, and it's separated by a railroad track, which I'm mousing over here. And currently what we have here is the primary, or the larger of the 2, is pretty much what we would call the manufacturing site. So in the middle here is, as of July 15th, is currently the manufacturing building. Pretty much the superstructure, the steel was erected at that time, the metal decking, and we are now hot to trot on getting the roof completed so we can have a dried-in condition. The insulated metal panels are ongoing. Hopefully in another 2 weeks we're going to be done. So we're on our way to be able to get dried in here. To connect the manufacturing building across the railroad, we actually have a bridge. And so I'm kind of marking this right here. So this is a pedestrian bridge. It's about 280 feet long. And of course, it's about 35 feet in the air. And that connects to a 4-story parking structure, precast structure. And then we go on to the office building. So this is a 3-story primary in the main office area. There is a customer experience center, which is going to kind of showcase a lot of the Komatsu's historical information. Okay, and then of course a lab area. So this site is basically, it's 46 acres. It is a brownfield site. So there were several other different industries that were on these parcels. And kind of like what Mike had alluded to, is on paper, you had I would call it a grading plan, or a surface that was thought to be. Well, I'm going to tell you that the proof is in the pudding of what he had said. This Komatsu site, on paper, in the very beginning, the onset of us starting pretty much boots on the ground, was different than what our documents were saying. So we did have the privilege, and I believe that we're probably the first to be able to be this. So I work for Hunzinger Construction. We've been a general contractor since 1907, of which I've been with Hunzinger for 19 years this month. And I'm currently a senior project manager. So through the process, and through most of my experience as being a project manager, trying to work with civil has always been a struggle. The tools necessarily aren't there. And pretty much what Mike had alluded to, it's old school. Measuring a pile, trying to come up with a square footage, and then take a depth or a height and establish volumes. That's kind of what we typically do. And we were given the opportunity here for the Komatsu South Harbor project to partner with Komatsu and be able to utilize their dashboard. And I'm going to kind of go through a little bit of features and kind of the struggle, but this is currently July 15th. So I'm going to exit this, and I'm going to show you what the site used to look like back in June of 2020, when we kind of we started going. So I'm just going to go, and I'm going to rotate this. There's a couple things I just kind of wanted to show and just highlight. Okay, so on the civil drawings, we never really had, and I'm gonna kind of highlight this pile here, just so you can kind of see what this looks like. This pile right here is material that was not shown on the existing conditions or grading plan. Okay, And basically going through the measurements and drone flights that Komatsu's been able to provide to us, we were able to, pretty much come up with an analysis. And for instance, we had material on site that wasn't supposed to be there in the range of about 42,000 yards, which is a lot of material. So that was pile number one. I'm going to cancel out of this. And I'm going to highlight another pile, which we are almost done dealing with currently. We'll go and turn the server on. All right. So back on June of 2020, you can kind of see the red scalloped areas. And basically, there was a process from the previous owner of the land that they needed to go and address the soil. And basically what they did is they drilled down 25, 35 feet with these huge augers, 12, 13 feet in diameter. And they drilled down that far, and then they reversed it. And as they were coming up, they're injecting Portland cement and bentonite to try to stiffen, trying to make this material more structurally used. And ultimately what ended up happening at the end of the process, before Hunzinger was allowed to get boots on the ground, we were looking at these areas having increased in height upward to 35, 40 feet. And all in, it's about 90,000 yards of material. That was never accounted for in our beginning stages of getting a mass grader on board. So between these two piles, we've gone and we've been able to look at these. Yes, they're huge volumes. It was a lot of dirt that we had to deal with that we didn't anticipate from the beginning. But we were able to use the dashboard and use drone flights throughout the process to be able to kind of see where we're at and what kind of strategies that we can go and be able to place it on site. This is a brownfield, so the direction was all soils need to stay on site. So when you talk about 160, 170,000 yards of dirt that you never really knew you had to address, it's kind of a big deal. So I'm going to go back to our July drone flight. I'm going to rotate this so you can see a little bit better. Sorry. I want to show you the extents. So basically, what I currently have is over on the left-hand side of the screen. There's these we added berms, and they're pretty significant. I would say this one here we call our berm number 2, our eastern berm, and all in the overall height of that is about 35 feet. And then we also were able to design and be able to coordinate this berm here. This one is only probably about 20 feet at its final design. So we were able to work with the previous owner before Komatsu acquired the property and haul off approximately 40,000 yards of this material. We were then able to go and take the rest of this material and place it in these berms. So it's working quite well. Now, the thing that we were trying and continue to work through is we're going through a machine foundation, so we're actually digging within the manufacturing building. We have currently 6 left. And every time that we're digging in there, we're generating this material that I have to go and find. So what we've been able to do is we've maximized the amount of that material, and now we've worked directly with Komatsu to now start hauling probably about 6,000 yards off to a waste facility. Okay. The unfortunate part is a little more expensive, but for future use of the property, there was the tides kind of changed and the direction changed where we kind of know and we can quantify through the use of the Smart Construction Dashboard volumes of where we think we're going to be at, to be able to relay that, be able to coordinate it with the owner. So a couple things just to highlight. Tools that I've used as a general contractor, I never had this opportunity. So I learned, I continue to learn. The Smart Construction Dashboard has been a very good asset for me to be able to communicate quickly, be able to react as fast as I can when I know that I'm seeing a problem, being more proactive than reactive. It's been an excellent tool to be able to use. So just showcasing a couple things here. So I'm going to show, Watson kind of showed it a little bit, but I'm going to show you a pretty cool tool as part of this, and it's pretty much developing a line set. And what I have here is I'm doing a cut section through the 2 berms, and then my infamous 40-some thousand yard cap that I can't use yet. Okay, so that's sitting there. And basically what I've done here is, I'm going to go and expand this. So I have a 2D cut section, and the tool is pretty easy to use. I just go and I can add a measurement. And in here, I can take a 2D, I could do a surface distance, horizontal distance, so I can see where I am horizontally from a certain elevation, or even a point to point. So I would know from each of my points that I selected here what that distance is. So if you're trying to rough in something spatially wise, you can take and use this to actually draw on the dashboard. So if I wanted to draw a 400 by 400 foot area, I can do that and be pretty close for planning purposes and so forth. But what's really neat here is I can select several different data sets. The dark blue line, which you could see up here or even down here, I prefer using this. And I can go and I could say, okay, I see it the 25 feet. Well, that's where I'm at currently. Okay, that's my final elevation before I start adding my clay material, which is 18 inches and 6 inches of topsoil. The orange, that is actually the planned subgrade. So that's from the civil engineer. We've modeled this whole project through BIM and Revit. Okay, so we're coordinating. Everything's in 3D. We're able to take from those platforms and create a DXF that has the topographical information to it and be able to upload it to the dashboard. So I can take the drone flights that Komatsu has done for us throughout the project, and I can take those DXF documents and I can compare the two. So basically that's what I've done here. Is the orange is a finish grade that I've gotten from the civil engineer, and then the lighter blue is actually a subgrade model that I've been able to team up with my mass grading contractor. So more so, we're trying to all be a team. It was a huge monumental task to be able to take care of and try to figure out how can I keep all this dirt on site, because it wasn't planned for originally. And this is the vehicle that I can go and I'm using. So as you can see, as I'm mousing over, the cap pile that I got it's going to be placed by others. It's not part of our contract, but it's on the site, so I have to kind of coordinate around it. You can see the light blue how it raises up. Well, my finished grade is actually going to be down. So where I'm currently at, I have to drop this grade 9 feet, okay, before I'm done at the finished grade. So that's an ongoing coordination item that I'm continuing to work through. And I'm hopeful that we'll be able to finish this project, yet this fall for most of the mass grading. And then I just have, in the spring, a little bit of touch up and my final asphalt. Okay, so that's a 2D. I've used it a lot. It's a huge asset. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to show you some. Let's see. Okay. So currently, this is a cut fill. So if I go and I'm gonna scroll out so you can kind of see most of it. Red or yellow in this case, this is where I have a cut, a planned cut. Now, this happens to be the manufacturing, so I haven't necessarily pulled that out 100%. But at the end of the day, there's a couple piles that I'm dealing with, but we're almost to what I would say done with my subgrade, except for this management of this pile here, which I said, right now I think it's about 30,000 yards. And then I have this area from in the north here, or I should say, kind of where I'm mousing over. That's my last area that I'm working towards. So as we continue to dig inside the manufacturing building, we're taking the material and we're putting it in a pile to be managed at a later date. That's why you see the orange and the yellow over in this area. So this is globally, I can go and I can check. So I'm going to tell you that right now, when I'm comparing it to my finished grade, so if I was going to be done, I have 15,000 yards to complete. So that helps me track the progress. What do I have left? Now, like I said, there's quite a bit of material. You can kind of see it in here. I have not pulled all these out. So this is more of a global. What I do typically is for this use, I hone in on these piles and I can see them globally. So I'll go and I'll take a separate measurement of these and be able to really dial in. But this is a really good overall picture and it gets you pretty close. Let's see, what else can I do here? One thing that's really, that I really have used quite a bit is this, I can reference volumes. So say I know how tall the pile is through the drone flight information, but I don't know exactly where my subgrade is. So what I can do is I can actually compare to a certain elevation. So for instance, here I'm referencing a bottom elevation of 10. Don't get hung up on that number. It's just that we're currently at in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Elevation 10 has meaning for me. But anywhere in the world, you're going to have your, whatever your elevation difference is above water table, usually is what it is. But as you can see here, like I said, we're about 30,000. So what I'm doing is my elevation for my subgrade is elevation 10, and I have a volume of 30,620. So I know, and I'm working with the other contractor to kind of start eating away at that and placing it now that I'm done with my subgrade. So we're currently doing that and coordinating with the other contractor. It's going quite well. We have placed some material already, in this area over here next to the manufacturing building down here. But as we continue to be able to stop or get done with the subgrade, we're coordinating with that contractor, start spreading that so I can get to the finished grade. Let's see if is there anything else I can really highlight here. And here I'll show you my last one here. So like I said, my last area that I can really receive on-site materials is right here. So as you can see, I do have my pile here. So the orange and the red there, that shows that I'm currently, I have a cut there, but it's planned to go and push it in my fill area. Okay. Problem is I have trailers and it's parking and it's, I need to get other materials out of there before I can finish. So as we can coordinate, but you can hover over and you can actually see that right now I am at 28 feet at the top of the pile. And my planned grade is at 12. So we're 16 feet taller or higher in that location. But we're going to be moving that. But I know due to the time, that's kind of what I've done. This has been a great tool. It's been the first time that Hunzinger, as a general contractor, we've been able to use a platform like this. I believe it's been a true success. And I personally thank Komatsu and Geoawesomeness and Mike and your team for continuing to support me through the drone flights and letting me use this platform. It's been a success.